Welcome everyone. Today we'll talk about monitoring and analytics in sales and marketing. Monitoring and analytics can be very well understood in sales and marketing with an example of retail as an industry because I strongly believe retail is where data analytics matters the most. So yes, we would try to adapt retail examples to make you understand what is all about analytics that helps us drive growth and the business. Remember, sales and marketing, the first industry to serve the big data tsunami was retail. Absolutely, yes. Before data was really big, or should I say, before big data actually came into existence, retail data was big measurement of standard. So what you factor when you factored out government, science, social media, it is still retail. It is absolutely anything but retail that we talk around here. Remember, it is all about margin. In retail, every penny counts. We just cannot discount a penny. It is all about competition, more market share, more customers, and more sales is what we aspire to go around it. Because that is what tries to make us growth every quarter. It is all about efficiencies, bottom line improvement every quarter after quarter after quarter. And it is all about big data that we talk around it, multiple systems, supplier, channel, etc. It's more the information which is going to be stored, which is going to be captured, which is going to be analyzed, and probably which is going to aid in our decision making capacity with the passage of time. So yes, the agenda is very simple. The topic is all about marketing analytics, definition, drivers, and advantages, models, definition, styles, forms, variables, metric is what we go around it. That is what we will be discussing in today's presentation. The introduction, the models, the metrics, everything about their definition, the styles, the forms, the families, the dashboards of metric thereby. So let us understand marketing analytics, the models and metric. Let me give you a broad definition. Remember, it's it is absolutely big. Data analysis for marketing purposes, from gathering data, from studying them, from probably ensuring the fact that everything is synchronized, indexed very well, and that is what big data is all about it. Now, what happens if it is an applied definitions of marketing analytics? Now, this is where we need to understand the techniques and tools provide an actionable insight in terms of models and metrics. So, broadly speaking, there are too many of data that needs to be collected, collated, indexed, and then probably analyzed. But as an applied definition, we need to develop certain models and certain metrics so that gives us certain insights, certain tools to take decisions. So models are decision tools such as spreadsheets. Metrics are KPIs or key performance indicators to monitor business. Remember, models are all about decision tool like base forecasting, what if scenario. Metrics are to monitor businesses like charts, like graphs. Example, sales. What are the sales chart? What are the channel sales chart? What are the different modes of vendors sales chart? Let us ensure it. For example, most of us are driving a car or actually drives a car, and even if we don't actually drive a car, we have seen a car being driven. It's like a steering wheel that goes around it, and then there is something called GPS. This is what the steering wheel is all about. It's the rotation of the wheel that comes around it. It is the speed that goes around, which depicts, and probably the petrol or the gas or the diesel that we do around, how much quantity is available in the tank has been shown around it. So what are these? These are nothing. These are but metrics which tells me the situation. The RPM, rotation per minute of your wheels, the speedometers, at what speed you are going around it, and the fuel gauge will tell us how much fuel is left in your thing. So these are monitoring situation or probably helps you to diagnose a problem. Thereby, what happens with the another system called GPS? GPS shows your reality, and that is what decides helps you to decide the course of action. So with this, I think most of the audience of this particular video have understood what I mean by models and what I mean by metrics. They might seem similar, but they are quite different in nature. Let's say metric gone wrong. It's in World War II when metrics regarding an airplane damage. What happens is the metric goes wrong. Should you rectify the damaged area? Probably. Or should you go for a new things? Your new plane. You need to understand. So Abraham Weld, a statistician skilled in analytics, said right metrics, wrong conclusion. Reinforce the non-damage area and fixing selection bias from studying only airplanes that were returned around it. So probably this is what needs to be done when you are looking into metrics. Remember, metrics will always be right. Probably your interpretation of the metrics can be wrong altogether. Trends driving marketing analytics adoption. What are we looking into it? We are talking about the budget. Now remember, before budgets and now what is happening with it. Before it was huge budgets, huge allocation was there about funds, capitals, and so on and so forth. But nowadays with metrics, it is all about low budgets, tiny budgets, just in time money expenditure. Now what are we looking into it? Market analytics first and foremost is accountability. It has improved productivity, reduces cost. What get measured gets done. Similarly, for data driven presentation, data with a backup proposal, why we are taking a particular decision, what if scenario needs to be played around it, predict success of the plans thereby. We are talking about massive data. We are simply going for the broad definition where we try to capture anything and everything, right from customer information to the customer spending power. So, what to do with all this data? Now, this is a massive data that goes around it. Online data availability is cloud-based data storages. Online, which is speed. Online, which is convenience. Reduce resources, do more with less. Scrutinize budget. Marketers must show outcome as the case might be. This is what we look forward. We talk about what happens with marketing analysis. Remember, it encourages experimentation. Market analytics will always gives us multiple scenarios before actually proceeding. It will always tell you what if scenarios. You can play it out, run simulation and predict what works best for you. So what does it helps us? It helps us in driving revenue. That means marketing as a cost center, marketing as a profit center, correlation between spending and result. Save money. Old way, execute campaign, guess outcomes. No longer tolerate such an approach. New way, predict outcome as the case might be. Then we have persuade executives, focuses on revenue impact from marketing, correlation between spending and result as the case might be. Sidestep politics. Some chief executive officers do not appreciate marketing. Why? Because they think that their product is good enough and it should be lapped out by the market. It should be consumed by the market at one go. But believe me or not, without marketing, it doesn't help you out. It shows an impact on the effort with the metrics thereby. The models is simplified representations of reality to solve problem. Example, advertising effectiveness models. How do we go around? Purpose to evaluate the impact of input variables. Example, assess how advertising affects sales as the case might be. This is very important. Decision models provide guidance on marketing actions. Example is deciding on the ad budgets to achieve objective. Now, if we do it around here, on an y-axis we plot the sales, and on the x-axis we plot the time. If we look out here, at the very beginning we start with a certain amount of sales and it grows over and over as a period of time. It actually goes increases manyfold and probably before it start diminishing. And this is where you need to understand why was this sales increasing, because there was advertising effectiveness. The responses were sales revenues increasing with increasing ad budget until point A. This is the point that goes around it just above my cursor, and then it goes down. Why? You need to spend on advertising, you need to improve upon your product, you need to come up with new models so that the so as to keep the society, the market interested in your product altogether. So yes, the model is which is simplified representation. The purpose is to understand what happens if certain things have been uh, enforced upon, or certain things have been withdrawn. Decision model provides a guidance thereby. Let's say in a verbal scenario, it happens in the styles, right? You expressed in words. Sales is influenced by advertising. Now this is what verbal scenario is all about. A pictorial representation is always in picture, graphs, charts, as a phenomena as the case might be, just as I showed you in the previous slide. Similarly, for mathematical expressions is all about an equation. Sales is anything and everything, that is A plus B into advertising. So A might be a product, B is the amount of spend that you go around it with the brand ambassador that you launch around it, or the medium that you attract, or the frequency that you hit upon the market. So that is mathematical calculation goes around. Let us talk about the descriptive analysis. Now, this is where the characteristics is being described as a phenomena which has a perfect cause and action reality. Example, a sales is because of advertising, because of features, because of availability of the product in the market, because of the excellent post-purchase services that goes around it. Now these are cause and effect relationship. That is descriptive. That is sales and advertising. Predictive is determining the likely outcomes given in a certain input. Classic what if strategy. What if action A happens? What if scenario B happens? What if task C doesn't get implemented? That is what helps you giving a sales productivity forecast. This is predictive model. And then there is something called normative model. Decide the best course of action to maximize objective. Given limits on the input variable, constraint optimization. Exactly talking about giving X, what should you do? What should you do? Determine price using forecast at a different price points. Models are variables, quantity that can be changed or varied. Example, advertising, budgets, sales, independent variables, variable whose value affect the dependent variable X, controllable, let's say, advertising budgets, non-controllable a customer see. So you have dependent variable, we have independent variable. The variable that can be changed. Let's say you have a dependent variable is something which is upon the money that you pour in, the type of brand ambassador that you bring in can actually make an impact in your sales. But what can be non-controllable? Let's say the economic situation of our customers, probably not controllable. The age of a customer, probably not controllable. Depending upon the variable, dependent variables is representing of the market objective, Y or the output in terms of responses, changes, and independent variations. For profit, revenue, profit, non-profit donations, as on when on basis, what happens and how do we go across with it. So we have the variables which is dependent and independent. Independent, we have the two constraints of being controllable and non-controllable as the case might be. Then we have the linear terminologies as the case around here. On the Y is the advertising, the amount spent. That's the independent variable. Amount spent. What is being done is a dependent variable is your sales, which will be plotted in your y-axis. Now, as a slope, the slope goes up and up above, as with the advertising that goes around it. So yes, sales level when advertising is actually zero, but with advertising it increases. So slope, what is the rise? What depends upon it? The mathematical calculation is the sales, which is a dependent parameter on the y-intercept. It might be dependent on a lot many features in terms of features of the product, in terms of availability of the product, in terms of price points of the product, in terms in terms of after sales services that we mean there. So yes, we talk about the metrics. The metrics are nothing but the dashboard that comes around it, and there are plentiful of dashboard you must have encountered by now. And you open, and if you just do not have an idea for dashboard, please open three commercial website or four similar websites from a similar industry, and you'll see every website the homepage presentation is different. Imagine that homepage as a dashboard. Why? Because every industry, every company, every website is trying to highlight certain unique things about them. Now that is what dashboard is all about. It the definition is to business oriented performance key indicators. Remember, sales per channel. Purpose is to monitor, improve market effectiveness, take corrective action as necessary. Metric families, group of control metric, diagnostic, predictive informations. Metric dashboard is a marketing automation system. Eloqua, Marketo, Pardot. Now these are marquee systems or marquee website or marketing apps that are actually doing wonderful and are super successful in the thing, of which my favorite is Marketo. Sales automation distribution is NetSuite and Salesforce.com. Remember, retail is not about big data, but it is a technology driver, and that is what I've been trying to tell to you. It's the monitoring and the analytics part of any marketing and sales. It is all a big data surface. It's a technological driver. As technology evolves, retail adaptations have taken place. So it's a paper inventory records, mainframe EDI, electronic data interface network. Remember, from paper inventory where we used to stock in all the data, all the details of the customer, to an electronic data interface. The EDI has been taken over by internet. Now we have every company pulling in data and probably consorting it into one system where every company can fetch it out. For example, let's say I want to apply for a credit card from a bank A, but my details are in with bank B. So bank A might be able to fetch all my credentials from bank B altogether from the central database that is multinational collaborative, and before deciding whether to award me a credit card or not. If yes, with what limits? If no, why? So that is what real-time inventory decision making is all about it. As I've just explained to you, we have what you know consider the mainstream as a retail routes, RFID, radio frequency identification, environmental sensors, VPN, virtual private networks, in transit tracking, real-time logistics, supply chain management as the case might be. So what keeps a retail operating on a technological edge? It is all about four P's. P's are like price, product, promotion, and place. That creates data at every decision making things. I again repeat product, price, place, promotions as the four P's, which is very important on the technological edge to come up with actionable insights, actionable data things. So all about data. What we're talking about is the sources of retail data are channel, reseller, brand, SKUs, you name it. We have sell-in, sell-through, channel trades, CRM, as the case might be. You look out it. I will give out certain things. There are prices, there are margin, there are CRM, the loyalty, the advertising. You name it, we have it. Just not to confuse you with those kind of knowledge. I'll give you an example. In this particularly watch it for next 1 minute, a particular information can be presented in so many points, and a particular point can be dissected into so many differences data set. Let's say there are 10 retailers to monitor, 10 data points, isn't it so? But then there might be 750 store per retailer to monitor. Imagine. So 10 into 750, 7,500 data points. Look, and we are talking only about data, retail store, retail points to stores. Now we need to complex understand the complete picture. 50 product per stores to monitor. 50 products, so 10 into 750 into 50, that is 375,000 data points that has created again for 52 weeks. Now you multiply it with 52 weeks, you will have 19.5 million data points. Thereby for 3 years historical comparison, you have a whooping half a billion data points thereby. So please understand how complex this is all about it. With this, if we have 7 types of data to monitor, that is point of sales, inventory, marketing, syndicated, retail prices, discounts, and you name it, and we have it. And these are just an indicator for you to understand as to what many data points goes around it. See how big the data arises from just 10 points that come across with it. Then we have 4 regions to segregate, and you multiply it more and more. Then we have 50 states in United States of America to segregate. How do we go for those data points? There are 8 categories to be aggregated. You will see there are 655 billion plus data points involved with managing just a retail sales channel thereby. So remain, what should we do? Where should we go from here? We need to understand them every now and then. The old rule of new shelf space means more sales has gone, is a bygone era. The new rule is all about analytics driven efficiency. The slowdown in the storefront means growth. More profitability will come from efficiency, being efficient, being present where action is happening. There are more data stores from the data from the stores altogether. Remember, traditional retail data is moving towards on a faster passage of time on a real-time method. We are talking about more of an e-commerce is equal to more of a data. We're talking about smartphone payment. We're talking about brand protection, expiry date management. We're talking about broader, deeper loyalty data, radio frequency, and something similar. Finally, is all what we talk about it. So we have a lot of data. In real-time monitoring of shipment, we need to understand humidity, vibration, temperature. In terms of increasing data sharing, we need to talk about ever-shortening lead times, niche targeting, regulation drive. This retail supplying is the team sport are analyzing constantly for servicing and regulatory compliances. Both are driving standardizations to an amazing level, if I may say so. Now, we'll come to the minority report. You look at it, where there are path analysis to be done on the store floor. There are more aggressive, more complex campaign happening, both in terms of lot alternative test happening, A or B testing, what we call around it, deep and constantly updated multivariate analysis, including personal, social media profile, geolocation tagging, probably demographic. All of this makes real-time target ads, discount, offer delivery on device of choice at a right place, at a very profitable reality as the case might be. Roadblocks are legal. Data privacy laws, multinational retailers will encounter huge problem. In US, most valued customers are the most protective of their privacy. Participants don't want to play nicely with each other. Retailer and supplier IT will have to get over the early analytics failures. IT infrastructures will have to radically change to make leap. The visionaries will lead. Mega retailers' massive current IT investment will make changes slow. But manufacturers, suppliers will be early retailers too. So we have the legal things, we have the cultural things where probably customers, the end customers are getting more private, more conscious about their data breach. Probably that's what goes happening around it. Technology is playing a great role in terms of connectivity, in terms of correlation, in terms of convergence, and so on and so forth. And are these important? Yes, sure. Volume of data and its complexity is going to get a new data analytical architecture. There is a need for both high performances Hadoop, as they say, streaming, the CEP, pattern builders, and Streamlit. Hadoop, pattern builders, Streamlit are the brand who are doing wonderful jobs. No SQL approaches have been particularly well suited for this problem. While the public cloud is great, retailer paranoia will make adoption very difficult. Nevertheless, the good news with the advent of OSS, who buys database licenses anymore? Moore's law, Credus law, bottom line, you need to understand what we are looking into it. You no longer need a Walmart size investment to analyze your data. It's going to be very cheap in due courses of time. We are going to go forward for offshoring a lot of great mathematician out of the world. Crowdsourcing, if you have Facebook, Foursquare, point of sales, POS data, Radiant 6, you really need instance, NPDs, the marketing consultant, the marketing survey consultant, companies who are doing probably ruling the roost, probably no, you will not be having a big investment. You can do it with a fragment of the cost that is being prevalent right now to get up the insight, actionable insight, if I may say so. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.